This was kind of one thing I wanted to point out about the State of the Union address, and it's a theme we'll return to in a little bit. I'll kind of link it to something else. But so this was on Monday. A reporter did some interviews with some college students to get their reaction to Trump's State of the Union address. The only problem is it was Monday, and the address happened on Tuesday night, so it hadn't happened yet. And their reactions are about what you would expect from a liberal college.
Rate Trump's State of the Union speech 1 out of 10. 1's the worst, 10's the best.
Negatives.
And why?
I think we all know a lot of reasons.
Yeah. What about the State of the Union last night? 1 to 10.
It was like a 1 or 2. I mean, it was all over the place.
Terrible, bro.
I'm gonna give it a 1.
And why do you say 1?
I don't think he's very articulate.
How did Trump do at the State of the Union?
0.
0 hasn't happened yet.
I'll be real, I didn't watch it.
I didn't really watch it much. I watched it for a little bit, but
The State of the Union last night. How?
But this is like generally the point I wanted to raise is this isn't just college kids. This is kind of everyone. Like if you already hate Trump, it doesn't matter what he was going to say or how positive he was during the State of the Union. Whether you saw it or you didn't, you were just going to lie and say you hated it. Or you'd see it and believe you hated it, right? Like people very much have their minds made up about this. We're very divided right now. And Trump, you know, love him or hate him, he is a very divisive figure. In my opinion, because he's so beloved. That's kind of why he's also so hated, right? It sucks when you're on the opposing team and you got one of the goats up there, right? So people aren't really going to change their minds on this, you know? There was here's what we'll just skip and link to it right now. This was Stephen A. Smith. He's had some good content today. Excuse me. He was discussing how Democrats, they hate ICE, right? They hate deportations. They hate Trump for being a Nazi who's rounding up all of these brown people and putting them in cages, right? And it's been widely reported that, like, under Obama, for instance, when he was doing ICE deportations, I don't know if it was CBS, it was one of the major media outlets, news outlets, was covering it like it was a really great thing and he was doing a great job. So Stephen A. Smith kind of digs into this. He's been getting into politics a little bit more recently. You can take a listen.
Yeah, you're talking about the border. Yeah, the border needed to be closed, but that was because Biden opened it. If Biden hadn't opened it and followed Obama, who deported more people than Trump did, in Obama's term in office, over 3.1 million people were deported. How come you didn't follow that, Joe Biden? How come you didn't follow that, Democrats? How come it was okay to celebrate ICE at that particular time when when Obama was in office, and you had networks literally traveling with ICE to show you the marvelous work that they were doing, but suddenly Trump is doing it, and now it's a pariah, and ICE needs to go, and it needs to be completely banned. Why are sanctuary cities existing? Why is that? Why do you get to, implement laws that could get you to ignore federal laws? How is that? How does that benefit our country? I'm saying to ask ourselves these questions. Yeah.
He's, first of all, 100% right. But he brings up an interesting point, which again, I'm linking back to the college survey thing, right? Because as a Democrat, you must be aware of that, right? Like that the ICE deportations were going on under Obama. But they almost, to me, like I've never seen them really respond to that question. I've never seen them acknowledge it, right? Because to acknowledge it would be to acknowledge that all of your hatred for Trump really isn't real. And that when you get right down to it, all this vitriol in politics isn't really real. It's a show. And it's tribal. So, like, I have this theory. People don't pick the political parties that they agree with, right? It's just a weird, random side note. But they pick their tribe, okay? They pick the political party that they believe is going to give them the best chance of survival and leading a good life, right? And the ideas are derived from there. To me, it's no surprise that political parties there's always two sides, and they're always diametrically opposed on all issues, right? But anyways, to circle back to this, if you were to acknowledge as a Democrat that Obama was doing the same thing with ICE, you would see that everything that you're saying about ICE currently is just an act, is just a veil essentially, and it sort of strips it away, right? So I think the other problem currently with all the vitriol in the country, just to be honest, is I think when you have a society that doesn't have a common enemy, you know, like we had World War One, World War Two, wasn't much Civil War talk going on during that time, right? We were generally getting along when we weren't beating the crap out of Germans, right? Or really fearing for our lives and fighting for our existence. But I think when you go through long periods where you don't have a common enemy, the public can kind of turn amongst itself on issues. So I think that's unfortunately the place we're in right now, and that's why it feels a little bit different than maybe it's felt in the past. You know, in America, there is a heightened level of animosity towards these different tribes or political parties. And again, none of it's, well, very little of it's actually of substance. A lot of it's just essentially hatred, kind of covered up.